Oh, 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 oh. Tastes like obsidian. Welcome to episode 2 of the Alien Magma-Boulder's report, or series, however you Earthlings would rather have it. I'm Alien Magma-Boulder, a rogue lieutenant of the Alien Magma Army led by Vulcan. And now that we've mostly been destroyed and dissipated and desecrated, I am here to tell you my secrets of the Ultra mythos. And today I have 3 particular episodes of the Ultraman franchise that I want to talk about in terms of surrealism. That's right, surrealism. The idea, the concept, the method of seeing something in reality that just doesn't look quite right. That could mean many different things. Notably, it could just be how sometimes your daily day-to-day routine can just be, well, a bit weird, a bit strange, a bit bizarre, a bit out of this world. That's how today I'm going to pick 3 episodes from 3 different eras of Ultraman that deal with surrealism in different ways. And now, there's a plethora of episodes I could have picked. Really, you can let me know in the comments what surreal episodes of Ultraman that really stick out to you, and see if the 3 I picked today are some of your favorites. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, the first episode I'm going to pick is from Ultraseven, that being episode 31. Flower Where the Devil Dwells, directed by Mr. Suzuki. And now I have to say, I really love this episode. It may not be as violent as some of the other Ultra 7 episodes, or in terms of dealing with a dark theme, but I really think that it dives to how an alien invasion doesn't always have to be chuckle monsters like me. It can just be a bit of a microscopic foe, a bacteria if you will, a virus. And now I know how you Earthlings like to deal with your viruses. You either like to have a giant being of light blast them away, or some chicks in high heels with bazookas blowing them up, as seen in Resident Evil. But in the case of Ultra 7, he had to deal with a vampire, a Sajin, that would go into a girl named Kaori's system and infect her and kind of mind control her to take the blood of other humans. And I thought it was quite interesting that an Ultra had to deal with a vampire foe, especially so early in their career as defenders of humanity. And it just goes to show how desperate us alien Sajin were to conquer your stupid little planet, even if it meant living in a flower and infecting people on a nice Sunday. And well, I gotta say, what really sticks out as a surreal part of this episode, besides the different nature of this particular antagonist, is the fact that there's a nice scene where Corey is walking around with Amagi as we're trying to look after her after all the weird things going on, and Amagi takes her to a carnival, a carousel, where they ride the little plastic animals and they go around in a circle. But the way it's shot reminds me of an older Twilight Zone episodes where the lights are glaring, everything's a bit hazy, it feels like a dream. And I think that's what adds to its surreal nature. And as the two are just enjoying a ride in the middle of the episode, really just makes into a really dreamlike state. And it really helps this episode's feel stay out a lot more. It sticks out on its own. And as an alien magma myself, I gotta say, I was really invested in this episode. Sure, I was hoping that the little alien vampire guy would win, but of course, the episode takes even more transcendent, surreal, dreamy feel as Ultra 7 decides to stay his human side as Mr. Moriboshi takes out the Ultra Eyes and henshins into Ultra 7 right in the operating room after they knock out Corey. And what does he do? He shows a new ability. I guess that the Ultras can become gigantic, and that being their normal height, I guess they can shrink down even further beyond human to microscopic levels, and that's what he does. He enters her system, and it looks as insane as that would be. One of those classic old sci-fi tropes of entering into someone's body. It's like a whole other alien world. But Ultra 7 goes through all of her systems and probably damages a few organs in the meantime. Let's be honest, that ice slugger and the Emirium beams they cause a lot of destruction. But he defeats that little alien bastard and he cuts him up. And he's able to leave her system and virtually cure her of her vampiric disease. And Kaori's able to go back smelling the flowers, like every girl does, I guess. And what do you know it? The alien threat was defeated, but I was still rooting for that little vampire bastard. So that's the first surreal episode I want to talk about. How often do you see an Ultra enter a human's body at a microscopic level to defeat another alien foe? Huh. Definitely a first in my lifetime. Now let's talk about the next episode on the list, that being from Ultraman Tiga. Oh, Tiga, take me higher. That being episode 37, Flower. Directed by none other than Mr. Jisoji himself, you know, from the Ultraman's Showa era. Jisoji, I really love his Heisei work in particular. And while he did direct 2 episodes of Tiga, the other one being Dream, I wanted to talk about the first one he did, that being Flower. Where once again, alien menace, more like heroes, but in terms of the characters in the show, I guess the aliens are menaces. That being Alien Manon, a group of female Seijin who wanted to come to Earth to live amongst its people, enjoying the nice flower festivities of Japan. And wouldn't you know it, when Guts goes on a nice vacation, eating a nice picnic and drinking lots of booze, they end up coming across Alien Manon, disguised as women in kimono dresses, and wouldn't you know it, they just want to also take over the Earth and live here. And I don't blame them, but the episode itself, with its nice pink and purple hues, are very dreamy and surreal. It's like if you're going to a Christmas light show and you're drink a bunch of apple pie, alcoholic cider, and now all the lights are like trying to come and grab you themselves. That's what it feels like. And that really applies to this episode, the way Jisoji's direction takes it all in the hand, and just really feels like a return to form from the Showa entries. But after it being about 20 plus years since the Showa era, you get to see how his directing style's really evolved, and I really like it here. And especially towards the fight, where after Manon try to escape in their spaceships and they capture Captain Aruma herself, Daigo becomes Tiga, and once again we get a human-sized Ultraman scene, much like we saw with Ultraseven earlier. But this time, Ultraman Tiga is human-sized, he saves the Captain Aruma, rescues her, and then it's just him, mano a mano, against the main alien Manon, with the backdrop of the nice Japanese countryside, and even the flowers from earlier, those cherry blossoms. And I really love the fight in this episode. It's trippy, it's surreal, you feel like you took some acid. However, I really like the choreography. It's really mostly martial arts based, with only a very few beams thrown in there. And it really feels like a fair fight between Tiga and this alien Manon. A really good fight, kind of like how Creloid put up a really good fight with Tiga earlier in the series. However, this fight is so dreamy that maybe if you're not paying attention, you might think it's hard to follow, but if you are paying attention, then you're in for a wild ride of a great, surreal, and very fascinating Ultraman fight that, much like how we saw with Ultraseven going into someone's body to take out a little alien monster, you don't really see a fight like the one here in episode 37, Ultraman Tiga. And of course, even though Tiga defeats Manon and the whole Guts crew gets to return to enjoying the flowers, literally going around and smelling flowers in this nice, beautiful Japanese garden, I just really like the close-ups in this episode. The way things don't seem to be the way they are. The way those Japanese ancient statues, those shrines in the area, seem to change their expression and kind of matches the design of Alien Manon herself. All in all, Flower is a great episode, and if you're only a fan of the Showa era and you like Jisoji's work, well, you're missing out if you haven't checked out the Heisei era. It's some of the best Ultraman stories of all time. And now let's move on to the last and third episode of this video, that being from a more recent show, you might know it. Ultraman Arc Episode 22, Man in a White Mask, directed by Mr. Koshi. And I gotta say, this episode is a real treat in terms of Ultraman Arc. After the big, arc of the Blazar crossover and fighting Gomez, here's Gomez right now, fighting Gomez and the King of Mons, making his first return from Ultraman Gaia. We then get episode 22, where no kaiju, and really not even an alien threat, because the episode seems to just be based off a human foe, was able to garner new powers during his time on this planet. And I love the mystery of this episode. people start to disappear one by one, or they don't know who you are, and the way the color grading this episode goes from bright and colorful, just being another day with following this kaiju team with all the characters. Get to see how everyone starts to realize something's wrong with the main core cast. Even though Captain Bond seems to just go to this other dimension and open his own restaurant and doesn't know what a kaiju is, everyone else and the cast knows what's going on. That something's off. And as more of the cast gets sucked into this weird, and as more of this cast gets sucked into this weird off-world that's more monochrome compared to the color we see in real life, that pays off later, I'll tell you in a minute. I really like that. It shows how all the colors have been sucked out of the world once people start to disappear, because we need people in the world. Even as an alien magma, I'm saying that. You need people. And what I find really fascinating is the threat. As I mentioned earlier, the Man in the White Mask is very fascinating. He's based off of some really old art, maybe European. The name of the artist is escaping me, but you know it. Because once the Man in the White Mask takes off his face, he doesn't really have a face anymore. He's a green apple lodged in there. I know it sounds insane, but if you've seen the art and you've seen the episode, you know what I'm talking about. It's kind of like something out of Courage the Cowardly Dog, I'll be honest. But it's really cool, and like I said, that surrealness, the way that Ultraman builds off his Ultra Q origins as a franchise, and even the weirdness from the earlier Godzilla films, it all blends together because it's all one big family of tokusatsu. And the way that here in Ultraman Arc that pay homage to the much weirder, more one-off episodes of yesteryear was really a treat. So much so that the main antagonist, like I said, he's just some guy who found a weird artifact from a past civilization. It's like a weird kind of like, not cylinder, but like kind of tapers down to like a, kind of like a spinner kind of thing. And it's just floating in the sky. And it's gonna wipe out all of humanity just to take him away, because humanity is what gives Ultraman strength, as the Man in the White Mask noted. And I really think this is interesting. We have a random threat, especially one that came after the King of Bonds episode, and that Gomez episode that had a really weird twist of Gomez being some crystal life form that got copied of real Gomez. Then of course, you know, King of Bonds is all about the imagination and granting wishes. Then we get Man in the White Mask. I think all three of these episodes, well, I think the one of this Man in the White Mask is a lot more surreal. They all make a nice little trilogy of weird one-offs. And it's a nice way to segue into the actual finale of the show, where the main plot picks up. But anyway, I like that this episode is more down to earth, and it culminates in a beautiful scene where Ultraman Arc, after a pretty easy battle, is able to defeat the Man in the White Mask and his weird ancient artifact he found. And once he does that, remember, the whole fight, all this is monochrome. It's black and white. It's very dreary, not noir. It's not noir, but it's just dreary. And wouldn't you know it, once Arc defeats the threat, and all the color comes back in the form of raindrops falling. These raindrops falling is such a beautiful sight. And it's just such a unique episode, and I think the sight of color raining back, literally and figuratively, back into our lives is a great message. And if there's one thing Ultraman is truly notable for, it would have to be the way that he's able to blend fantasy and reality into a single world. And sure, things might be surreal, you might want to look behind your back, or something you saw pass you, or something in the sky, or something looks weird. And in an age where we're always surrounded by endless, annoying technology, smartphones, smart glasses, smart watches, whatever you name it, smart technology, Bluetooth is everywhere on the Wi-Fi. I do think things are becoming a little more surreal on planet Earth. And as the alien magma myself, well, you're making it a lot easier for us to conquer you. Just gotta ring up some of my old alien buddies and we're gonna kick your ass, just don't tell any of the Ultramen. But, as you saw, of course, in today's video, surrealism can take many forms. More direct, more subdued, more in your face. It can be something as easy as flowers in your daily life, as we saw with the Ultraman Tiga and Ultraseven episodes. These flowers leading away to something more sinister, something that's supposed to be nice and serene. Or, as with this Ultraman Arc episode, you never know. When you're walking down the street, there's less people in the world, and something is up. Before you know it, the melancholy dreariness gets to you. But you gotta be careful. You gotta make sure you find that color in your life and bring it back, even if it's just a few raindrops at a time. And I gotta say, there's a bunch more of these surreal episodes of Ultraman I could talk about. But these are just 3 that I've been thinking about more recently. So please let me, Alien Magma-Boulder, know in the comments below, and Mr. Tiger Drop Films, he will reply to you, because I can't be bothered myself. But let us know in the comments below, what are your favorite surreal episodes of Ultraman? Are there any I should have talked about? What are your favorites? And do you like my 3 I talked about today? And well, please subscribe to Tiger Drop Films. Check out the last episode 1 of the Alien Magma Report, where I talked about how Ultraman Cosmos evolved Balton. And be sure to stay tuned, for episode 3 will come out in a few weeks. But there's some big plans in the future. Be sure to check out all the past Ultraman videos on this channel. And I, Alien Magma-Boulder, will see you in the next one. Until next time, make sure you're sinister. And I'll see you later. Shah!